how in the hell does a 16-year-old get pregnant in the system?
16-year-old Zariah Dodd, who was pregnant when she died. 2 men are in custody accused of conspiring to kill her, including the unborn baby's father. Taylor Wirtz joins me with the details tonight.
3 weeks before she died, a 16-year-old girl told her caseworker a man had threatened her with a gun and forced her to have sex. Her forensic interview was scheduled. She never made it. This is the murder of Zariah Dodd. If you're new here, this is True Crime Consequence, where we cover the cases that don't get enough attention. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Zariah Finley Dodd was 16 years old, living in Arizona's foster care system, under the custody of the Department of Child Safety. By the summer of 2025, she'd been placed at a group home called Sunshine Residential in Surprise, Arizona. She hadn't ended up there by chance. Over her time in state care, Zariah moved through roughly 20 different placements: group homes, foster families, new towns, new rooms, new rules, again and again. At one point, a family friend named Richelyn Fox, who'd previously managed one of Zariah's group homes, took her in as a kinship caregiver. That arrangement didn't hold. She was sent back into the group home system. In the months before her death, records show Zariah raised concerns about her own safety. She also told her DCS caseworker something specific, that a 36-year-old man named Jurrell Davis had threatened her with a gun and pressured her into sex when she was 15. A forensic interview to look into that claim had already been scheduled. It was set for just days after she was killed. Advocates for foster children would later ask whether that delay cost her life.
If law enforcement had immediately investigated and taken steps and done the forensic interview instead of waiting 3 months to do it, could this again have prevented her death?
By that summer, Zariah was also 22 weeks pregnant. DNA testing later confirmed Davis was the father. Friends say she'd already picked a name for her daughter, Zaloni. At the same time, she had a boyfriend, 18-year-old Jechri James-Gillett. Investigators say Zariah told a friend she'd only met Davis and James-Gillett together once, at a park, and described Davis as having anger issues and owning guns. She told someone else she was looking forward to seeing James-Gillett on the 4th of July. A friend later told police she'd overheard Zariah and James-Gillett arguing on the phone just days before Zariah died. By the 4th of July, the pieces were already moving. Zariah was living under supervision at Sunshine Residential, but supervision has limits. That evening, around 8 o'clock, she asked staff for permission to visit James-Gillett. They said no. Instead, staff let her leave for a walk around the block. She took her laptop, her purse, and a pink and purple tumbler she carried often enough that people who knew her would recognize it on sight. James-Gillett picked her up. She didn't come back. Surveillance footage from a nearby Quick Trip placed her with both James-Gillett and Davis around 8:40 that evening. What was said between the three of them after that, only 2 people are alive to describe, and their accounts don't match. At some point during the drive, Zariah sent a text to a friend, 5 words, from inside a car that wasn't taking her anywhere. "We're literally driving in circles." It's the last message anyone has from her. Just after 2:30 in the morning on July 5th, surveillance cameras near Marivue Park in West Phoenix picked up 2 things: the sound of a single gunshot and a figure walking through the park shortly after. Less than 10 minutes later, an SUV nearby flashed its headlights in a way investigators would later describe as consistent with signaling. Around that same time, Zariah's phone went dark. It stayed off until later, and when it came back on, it pinged near Davis's home. According to court documents, James-Gillett later told police he was the one who fired the shot, but he said he hadn't wanted to. He claimed Davis gave the order and threatened to kill him and his family if he refused. A more recent court filing from James-Gillett's defense describes that threat in more detail, alleging Davis pointed a green laser at him during the call. Davis has denied any involvement in her death. The physical evidence tells a different story. When investigators searched Davis's vehicle, they found Zariah's tumbler inside it, the same pink and purple one she'd carried out of the group home hours earlier. Cell phone data, according to police, placed Davis at the park at the time of the shooting. Investigators also learned that both men had somehow obtained photos taken at the crime scene while police were still processing it, a detail that raised new questions about what happened afterward. By sunrise, a man walking his dog found Zariah's body. She was lying face down in the grass.
Details tonight on the murder of a pregnant teenager. Her body was found last month at a Phoenix park, and still no arrests have been made.
We were the first to bring you this case of Zariah Dodd, and just a short time ago, following our exclusive report last night, Phoenix police finally confirming that it was Zariah and her unborn baby found murdered at the park. Tonight, Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum is speaking to the victim's father.
Surprised that y'all called me and my family down here to do this, but ain't no faith. They had stated it was a 20-year-old woman found in the park. They never even mentioned anything about pregnancy. It was just a 20-year-old woman found in the park.
All we've ever wanted to do is get Zariah, raise her, and make sure she was a productive citizen out here. These kids and these teens that are not being watched after, how in the hell does a 16-year-old get pregnant in the system? They took a beautiful soul away. They took someone who had survivor mentality and wasn't really capable and able to really fully be a kid.
Zariah and her unborn child Zaloni will be laid to rest on Saturday. If you have any tips for police, call Silent Witness at 480-WITNESS.
An autopsy confirmed the cause of death, a single gunshot wound to the head. Her unborn daughter did not survive either. She was 16, 22 weeks pregnant.
I did not birth her, but I loved her as I birthed her. I'm left with feeling like I'm on a roller coaster that's gonna fall. It's heavy, not just on me, but on the sisters that she left, the brother that she left. I don't know how you explain losing a child, how you explain that. Why that Zariah's phone was not stripped from her. When they found out that she was in contact with a 36-year-old, said that she wished that she would have stayed that little innocent little child. I still get emotional about it because when you have a child that's begging to come home and they can't, you don't have nothing to offer them but encouragement.
In the span of a few hours, two men she knew, one her boyfriend, one the father of the child she was carrying, allegedly decided her life was theirs to end. Once Zariah's body was identified, detectives moved fast. It took investigators several days just to confirm who she was. A 16-year-old, pregnant, in state custody, found shot in a park hours after leaving a group home. That combination of facts gave the case urgency from the first morning. Investigators started with the basics. Who was she with last? Who knew her routine? Who had reason to want her gone? The group home gave them a starting point. Staff confirmed she'd left on foot around 8 the previous evening and confirmed what she'd taken with her, including the tumbler. The quick trip footage became a turning point. It placed Zariah with both James-Gillett and Davis hours before her death, undercutting any version of events where either man claimed no contact with her that night. Cell phone data gave investigators another thread. Zariah's phone had gone dark right around the time of the shooting, then resurfaced later near Davis's residence. That gap, and where the phone reappeared, let them work a timeline backward. When they searched Davis's vehicle, the tumbler was still inside it. For investigators, that wasn't just a personal item. It was a direct physical link between Davis and a girl he claimed, publicly, to have no part in killing. Then came James-Gillett's statement. Police say he admitted to pulling the trigger, but framed it as something he was forced into. His account named Davis as the one who gave the order and threatened his life if he didn't comply.
A state that doesn't minimize the impact that this is going to have on her biological family at all. Regardless of anything, that's their baby, and that's a child. And this child was taken advantage by multiple people that she trusted, and unfortunately that's what cost her life.
Investigators also had to weigh the abuse allegations Zariah made against Davis weeks earlier and the forensic interview that had been scheduled to examine it. That interview never happened. She was killed days before it was set to take place. While the case built against him, Davis was already in jail on unrelated weapons charges. Weeks later, prosecutors added something new: 20 additional felony counts, including sexual exploitation of a minor, luring a minor for sexual exploitation, and child enticement using electronic devices, tied to a separate case involving another underage girl in Avondale. To investigators, it suggested Zariah's case wasn't isolated.
Just coming into the newsroom, 2 people have been arrested in the murder of a pregnant teenager at a Valley Park.
Yeah, the suspects in the murder of 16-year-old Zariah Dodd have now been identified as 18-year-old Jechri James-Gillett and 36-year-old Jurrell Davis. Davis was the father of Zariah's unborn child. He's been booked for murder and sexual misconduct with a minor. The other suspect, James-Gillett, was booked for murder. The investigation also revealed that the 2 suspects conspired to commit and carried out the homicide. Now, Zariah was murdered back on July 5th. Her body was found at Marivue Park just hours after she went missing from a group home in Surprise.
Both men were charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, one for Zariah, one for her unborn daughter. Davis faced an additional charge, sexual conduct with a minor, tied to Zariah's earlier allegation. Both were held in Maricopa County Jail on cash-only bonds. Davis's bond on the murder charges was set at $1 million, with a separate $150,000 bond on the charges tied to the second girl. James-Gillett's defense has leaned on coercion, arguing he acted under threat of death and shouldn't face the same treatment as a man they say orchestrated a killing.
Person has prior convictions on their record. The prosecutor usually aggravates their sentence or even asks for the maximum amount. And here the maximum amount is life in prison or even death. First-degree murder means that something's premeditated. It means it's thought out. There was a plan involved, and it wasn't just some last-minute thing. The defendants allegedly planned this out to kill the victim here. And because you have a minor, a pregnant minor, this is a very egregious act that was caused here. And so ultimately the prosecutor can even go death penalty in the future if they decide to. The group home here, if they are found negligent here, they can be found negligent for child abuse charges if there's any information or evidence to see that the group home was here liable. It could have prevented the murders of these people. The system is broken here. A lot of times it's just overwhelmed with minors. A lot of times there's not enough resources out there, and sometimes minors unfortunately die in the hands of the group homes.
His attorney has since moved to dismiss the indictment, arguing prosecutors withheld evidence that could have supported a lesser charge. Prosecutors reject that framing and maintain the killing was intentional. As of early 2026, neither man has gone to trial. Prosecutors face a March deadline to decide whether they'll seek the death penalty against either defendant. Zariah Dodd spent most of her short life inside a system built to protect kids like her. 20 placements, no lasting stability, and in the end, no protection when it mattered most. She had already told someone what Davis allegedly did to her. She was days away from telling it to someone with the power to investigate it. After her death, people who knew her gathered at the same park where she was found, holding balloons and wearing shirts with her photo. They remembered her as funny, sharp, and hard to keep down, no matter what she'd been through.
She was a daughter to us. She was a friend to many. She was a sister to many. Pulling up today was hard. I kind of broke down in the car. She loved to make everybody else smile, even if she couldn't make herself smile. She loved to make others feel good about themselves.
So I was in foster care from about 9 months old up until I was 15 when I was returned home to my mom. That still didn't want me at that time. I got pregnant at 15, but during that time in foster care, I was, as a teen, moved from home to home, foster home to foster home, group home to group home. We mentor pregnant and parenting teens. We hold lunch and learns to help them learn. We eliminate their barriers while they're going through their path to self-sufficiency.
I would like to say that you have the resources here. You have people who will care for you, who will love you, and don't feel like you need to shy away or make yourself be little in your head. You matter, your dreams matter, and the baby on the inside of you matters as well.
Her case raises a question that outlives her. How many other kids in state care are, right now, waiting on a system that may not move fast enough to save them? If this case affected you, subscribe to True Crime Consequence for more stories that deserve to be heard. And if you want to know whether Davis and James-Gillett ever face justice, that's where True Crime Consequence picks up the story. We'll see you in the next one.